podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How you doing, fellas?
Doing all right, man. NBA's over. We're hitting the sports slump of summer. But man, I am happy for Curry. I know we'll be getting into it. And for a moment there, I thought Wiggins was going to have his Andre Iguodala moment there. But Curry pulled it off.
That would have been painful.
Jesus. Yeah. NBA is over, man. Sad day. But the NBA draft, NBA free agency right around the corner. So next, 21st, man, July 4th, man. NBA draft, NBA free agency, all this stuff coming up, and we're already hearing some rumors right now. So hopefully it's an exciting summer again with all the action, because this Warriors team, man, they ain't a super team, so people are going for it right now, which I love. All these teams are going for it right now.
Definitely. Shout out to the Golden State Warriors. The NBA Finals was kind of on a fast pace. I think a lot of people was wanting to anticipate a Game 7, but the Warriors got it done in 6. So we're going to transition into not so much about the Warriors, but Steph himself. He captured his 4th ring. He finally got the elusive Finals MVP. Even though Wiggins was trying to do a little bit of a steal the show type moment for the NBA Finals MVP, but Steph got that, deservedly so. So I wanted to ask the guys what was their opinion on Steph winning the Finals MVP, and where does this put him? There's been a lot of legacy talk. Where does this put him among the Pantheon greats? And Zoo, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, we just saw Steph Curry's greatest moment of his career.
Yep.
His greatest moment of his career, his greatest Finals performance, 35-5. He averaged 35-5 and against elite defense of the Boston Celtics, and we saw one All-Star on that team. Andrew Wiggins, everyone hyping up Andrew Wiggins. He was a nice little defender, man. He played great defense, man. He gets 16, 18 points a game. 16, 18 per game. He was a nice role player. He played his role as a nice cutter, man. Played some defense, man. Okay, that was cute. That's cute, man. But it was the Steph Curry show. He's only had one bad game with the less than 20 points scoring, and he just had an off night that night. He was just not hitting 3-pointers, not hitting a single 3-point shot. It was in the defense. Steph Curry just had an off night. His offensive showcase, man, was something that you just compare to Kevin Durant. You just got to compare it to Kevin Durant. You just got to compare it, man. You got to compare. They play the same exact defense. They're both. Kevin Durant had Kyrie Irving as the sidekick. He had Andrew Wiggins. Jordan Poole.
A lot more options.
Barely Klay Thompson. No. Barely Klay Thompson. Even look at the rest of the roster on offense. Defensively, they're an elite defense. You got Kevon Looney, Andrew Wiggins, the team defense, the team help. They got elite defense. You can't compare. But offensively, they were not that impressive. It was
Jordan Poole. The lights were too bright. Yeah. I agree with that.
And Klay.
Yeah. Oh, Klay Thompson, he had an awful Game 6 Klay.
Cost me my parlay.
Yeah, it wasn't there.
He was not good. He hit an off shooting night. They didn't even need him. The Golden State Warriors didn't even play that good on offense, but Steph Curry averaging 30 points a game.
Pulled a D-Wade.
Yeah, you got it done, man. We forget, this dude's 34 years old. This dude's 34 years old and his greatest finals performance and finals MVP. He's finally, no-brainer, the best player in the NBA Finals. In the past couple finals games.
True. No-brainer.
No-brainer. You had Kevin Durant, obviously, LeBron James. Hard to be better than KD and LeBron. These are historical players. But against this Boston Celtics team, by far, it was him and Jason Tatum. You could have made an argument with Jason Tatum's come up this year. Man, he was outplaying Kevin Durant. He's putting up 28, 30 points a game in the conference finals and in the Eastern Conference Finals. But against Steph Curry,
the finals.
Oh, no.
Not the finals.
Regression to the mean.
He went the bad, man.
No, he went below the mean.
He went the bad, man. 24 years old.
Jaylen Brown looked like he was a better player than Jason Tatum.
In this series.
Offensive efficiency-wise, he was more efficient of a player. Barely, but not much. But he was a better efficient scorer. But they were both bad.
Yes.
They were both bad. But Jason Tatum, efficiency-wise, they were in a different class, man. Steph Curry shooting 48 to 50% from the field, man, on jump shots. Tatum missing shots, man. It was an embarrassing moment, but it's all good. The dude's
early in their careers.
24 years old. 24 years old.
10 years is elder, and here comes Curry's first true. You can't compare it to anything else. That was his first big moment, and he was 34 years old. Let's be honest here.
That's kind of crazy.
That's crazy. And I think, Zoo, I don't know about you, but we all kind of thought Chris Paul was going to do something like that last year. Maybe not to the 30 points, scoring level, but impact to his team. I think a lot of people expected Chris Paul to finally have his moment. And I'm not saying he shied away from it, but he kind of did. Curry finally proved to everybody that I'm the reason. The only thing I've been mad about is that Stephen A's just been gloating all week, man, because he picked him from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you did.
But props to him for seeing through
great pick.
a lot of turmoil. It was a good pick, good value pick if you're a betting man or woman. But man, this Warriors team, I do have to shout out Draymond. I thought he actually finally had a good game in Game 6.
Oh yeah,
Made some pivotal plays, rebounding. Wiggins, man, he put up 18 and 9. The 9 rebounds was actually, I think, one of the most values that he was adding. He also gave almost 2 steals and 2 blocks a game. This guy was pretty much a better version of what Iguodala was in the 2015 NBA Finals. It's the only way I'll put it. It's just that Curry was at a stardom level that we usually are used to seeing him, just maybe not to this level in previous finals. So I'm happy as hell for him, man. I think this easily pushes him. Zoo, I know you made the same comment to me personally, but this puts him top 10 all time. Up there with probably the Stocktons and Magics. You might even put him at number 1 now as best point guard of all time, man.
That's right. His legacy. I can't do it.
You can't do it?
He's behind Magic, but I think he's 2. And I'm struggling kind of too with Isaiah because people forget how good he was the best small guard until Curry came. Yeah, and people think maybe I think he was, because they gave him 6 foot, but Isaiah was maybe 5'11". Like, he was a small guard.
Tough guard.
Like, at least optically, he looked very small. And, I think he gets hated on a lot because he was the only one that kind of took claim to beating up Michael Jordan. So a lot of people don't like that. But like, he could get it done. And plus 2, during his era, like, nobody of course he's not the shooter that Curry was, but he brought it on both ends of the floor. Now, I think Curry's in the top 10, but I don't think I'm trying to think who I would take out. And the 2 people I keep coming back to is Wilt.
Just think of the old dude. Think of the old dude.
Wilt, but Wilt was a monster statistically, bro. Yep. And he wasn't going against bums.
Yeah, he was.
Like, he was Bill Russell's a bum.
Elgin Baylor.
Bill Russell's not a bum.
He played in the 60s. You know what people in the 60s played, man? There were 8 teams. Yeah, there were 8 teams back then. They were part-time basketball players, man. It was not their main focus.
Not all of them.
Yeah, not all.
And most of them players back in the 60s, that era, part-time players, man. Like, you couldn't make enough money. It's like the WNBA, man. They need a part-time job to support their career. Yeah, it was not a full-time job back in the day. Did not dedicate themselves to the game. Wilt Chamberlain was a physical freak. Like, I feel like he's one of the genetic freaks that transcended eras. He's a physical freak, but I'm taking him out, man, because I'm looking at their legacy on the game, their impact on the game of basketball. When I'm looking at this right now, and their impact on the game of basketball, what Steph Curry's done for the game and his resume and skill set. He's won 4 championships. He won 4 championships in an era with LeBron James and Kevin Durant. That is incredible.
With the help
of
Kevin Durant.
With KD, I gave you that. But he won 2 without him.
Yeah, he did.
He won 2 without him. He won 2 without him. It's like Kobe and Shaq. Kobe won 2 without him.
Zoo, it's Wilt though. I agree because you don't have him in top 10, but 95% of people have Bill Russell in their top 10, and I would agree.
Yeah, I don't got him either. Do you know why?
You know why?
But you know why?
The majority of people do.
Majority of people do because they respect him. He's important to the game of basketball.
He's an important legacy.
He's important. Yeah, he's an important guy to the game of basketball. He's probably the face of basketball in the prehistoric era of the 60s basketball. But I don't like one-way players. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair.
No disrespect to Bill Russell. Steph Curry has turned himself to a good defender now. He is an underrated.
Year of that.
Yes. No.
Steph
Curry is an underrated defender now.
I'm not gonna do it. I can't do it. He had 1 year, bro. His career arc as a defender has not been there.
Yeah, he has always been a good team defender. He's always been a good team.
A lot of players that's good team defender.
No.
Yeah, no. That don't mean nothing.
No. Magic
Johnson.
Let's put it this way.
Like,
and we're talking about top 10, so you got to nitpick. It can't just be, well, he just had, like, he's a good team defender. Like, that's a lot.
And he's a good defender. Now, I believe he's a good one-on-one defender. He's not a liability. You saw the Boston Celtics try to expose him by posting up bigger guys against him. Steph Curry is a strong basketball player now. And when you saw when he got exposed by one-on-one, it was freaking LeBron James picking him one-on-one. Okay, he can't guard LeBron.
What did Derrick Rose
nobody wants to saying that.
What?
What did Derrick Rose or Russell Westbrook used to do to him when they were both in their
Russell.
20?
Yeah.
Nah,
And that
Hey.
was like Steph, like
He
this
got
year,
destroyed.
like this year, yes, I will give you.
I agree.
But over his career, he's been a bad defender. Hence the
Yes.
reason
No,
why they got KD,
not
because
bad.
KD covered up a lot of
No.
KD has covered up a lot of mistakes for the Golden State Warriors when he went there. Remember, he was like their best defensive player.
Besides,
Like, and
Draymond,
guess what?
probably,
Kyrie that hit that shot, guess who hit it on? Steph, because he was food to him. Kyrie looked at Steph.
It
and
was
he couldn't
good
see me
defense,
one-on-one.
man. He just hit a great shot. It was good defense. If you
I don't
rewatch
think
that
we
play, that was good defense, man.
If
I'll
I'm
live
gonna
with
pick Bill
that.
Russell or Steph, I'll pick Russell in terms of defense. If we're gonna nitpick,
Okay,
Well, of
but,
course.
but one dude got zero offensive
Yeah.
game. And everybody knows in the game of basketball, offense is more important than defense. That's why Tony Allen ain't one of the greatest players ever, because he was a one-way player.
That's
Offense is valued more in the game of basketball than defense. That's just a fact.
That's true, especially nowadays. But I do also think that the difference in this series was the Warriors' defense on the Celtics. I know they weren't making shots, but give me
Andrew
one.
Wiggins, yeah,
Give me one wide open shot that Tatum had all series. I bet you could count them on maybe one
maybe
hand.
three
Maybe
shots,
one
maybe.
hand. And I'm not saying, look, this Warriors team, partially what makes them great is their defense. That's really what makes
They
this
were a
world
top
go
two
around.
defensive
You take-
efficiency team. Yep.
You take Draymond out of that team, and I'm not saying he's the most pivotal piece, but if you're looking at mentally, he probably is the most pivotal piece. Physical play style, obviously Steph Curry. But if you take Draymond off that team, their defense implodes. They end up losing. They end up being the 9th seed. They're the ones, obviously they had more injuries than just Clay in the past couple of years. But when they had to play the Grizzlies in the play-in game, man, their defense was not to the level that it usually is.
Yeah.
So I don't think you could say offense matters way more than defense, because I think the best teams play both perfectly well.
Yeah.
But not every one of their players can do the perfect two-way. Steph decided to step up. I think he realized that was going to be the difference in this year for them to win a championship. And I like the fact that he did it. He actually did it. He came out, played hard.
Yeah, no argument.
Couple steals a game. You can't hate. But I think they had to rely on him stepping up in that case, because he never had to play defense in the prior years in the finals that they had won, because they had other factors that made them really good.
Yeah, Clay Thompson in his prime, who was
Clay
a
Thompson
lockdown
in his
defender.
prime. LeBron by himself, Kevin Durant on offense, as well as his length on defense. He can cover more of the court, like Sean said. So this year, the difference is going to be him popping off on both sides of the court, and that's exactly what he did. That's why his legacy is beautiful, man.
That was the game where he.
But I don't think you can argue he's a true two-way player yet.
No.
He's got to do it.
I think he's a two-way player.
He is now. I think you could say now, but I don't think you can say his legacy was
His
a two-way player.
IQ on defense, because some people are just dumb on defense because their basketball IQ is not there. Steph Curry always had high basketball IQ.
Mm-hmm.
He was always one of the smarter basketball players on the court.
Just didn't have the quickness to match it on defense.
I feel like,
and then he shifted.
I feel like he's underrated, man. I feel like just based on his play style, his
Recency
movement.
bias.
It's because of his
It's
movement on
recency
offense.
bias.
It's because of his movement on offense and carrying the
Stu
load
doesn't
on
like
offense.
we know he don't like centers either, so it's just that all this is I see where it's adding up. Like if
I
Bill
don't-
Russell was a two guard,
No. I would like centers if he could dribble, shoot, and pass. I love Nikola Jokic. I love Joel Embiid. Bill Russell on offense, he's just not there. He's like closer to Dennis Rodman, like great player, but top 10, stop it. I like two-way players, man. Especially in the top 10.
I think
Bill,
wrapping
he's
this up-
closer. He's closer to Ben Wallace and those guys than Shaq and Hakeem. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely.
I think wrapping it up, I think there's a lot of people you can make it like in terms of the top 10. Everybody has a different order in their top 10, but I think we can all agree Steph has a place in there. It just depends on what do you prefer and who you're going to take out, because it's it is very hard regardless of the two-way player talk. Like he is a player that should be in the top 10, just on like the Zoo point where he was saying, he changed the game. He made basketball different. And that along with his accolades, and now that he's got a finals MVP, him being in the top 10, that's not crazy. Like you just got to figure out who you got to take out, because you can't just say he's top 10 and then not take somebody out. You have to take somebody out. So it just depends on who you want to take out. Like, everybody has, and everybody's top 10 is different too. But depending on your top 10, Steph's got to somewhere be in there. And at the lowest, he's at 11 or 12. So, Steph, shout out to him. Golden State Warriors, they were able to get it done.
On the next year.
If you look on the next year, it looks even more insane because they got a lot of draft picks that they drafted last year.
James Wiseman's coming back.
I knew he was going to say that. He was just waiting for
What
it. I
a
knew he was
waste
gonna
of a
say that.
second overall
I knew he
pick,
was gonna
man.
say that.
Did you see this dude, man? They were celebrating a championship, man.
I knew
And
he
I
was
see
gonna do
this
that.
dude
Yeah,
on
that picture.
Instagram
Yeah,
with the
that was
trophy
crazy.
looking like
That
he's
was
Kobe
crazy.
Bryant. I'm like, bro, you played as many
He's
that
Luke
was-
Walton,
Just
dude.
stop
He's
it.
not Kobe. He's the Luke Walton. of
That
the
is
team.
that was
Dude,
that was
I was just like,
no awareness.
what are you doing?
Yeah, that's wild.
James Wise, what do you?
Yeah,
you
you can't do
freaking
that.
Moses Moody contributed more in this playoff run than you, man. So I'm just
You
like,
can't
yo,
do that. NBA drafts Thursday. Paolo Banchero is a guy, one of the last guys we're going to analyze. From Duke, I think he came probably into the league, or not league, but into the NCAA. Kind of as the number one pick. He's kind of teetered in between 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. But I want to ask the guys what their opinion on him is. His fits with a couple of NBA teams. And people, I'm gonna start with you.
Man, this is tough. And I'm going to try and kind of relate it to Jason Tatum a little bit because I know he's bigger. He's 6'10", but I do think he has a little similar play style to Jason Tatum, man. And that's the ability that he can bring on as a stretch 4. Zoo loves his stretch 4s. I know he does. It's pretty much the current NBA. And if you can get a guy that's 6'10" and he can handle like Banchero can, I know he's not, a stud, maybe like a Jabari Smith or, the hype that Chet Holmgren has, but he's still a beast out of Duke. If they had a point guard, this team would probably be the national champions. I think we could all agree with that.
Yeah.
But the only thing I think is he just needs to work on his 3-point percentage and his defense. And I think that is where I see the similarity to Tatum. I know Tatum was a little bit better of a 3-point shooter, but has improved throughout his young career in the NBA. But I think the defensive inabilities entering the NBA remind me of Tatum on top of their ability to stretch the floor. So I think that, a team that does take a chance on Banchero, whether it's before Jabari or Chet, or it's after at the 3 spot, or hell, it could be even after Jaden Ivey from, some of this news we've been hearing. But I do think a team, and I know that if he does slip this far, they'd be glad to take him. But I think this team would end up having to trade up, and that's the Pacers. I think the Pacers might have to try and take a chance on him because I think he'd fit well with Halliburton, man. I think that'd be a nice little combo. Not saying they'd be making championship runs in the next coming years, but there have been talks about moving Brogdon, moving Miles Turner, kind of shifting some pieces around, maybe even get some more draft capital to move up in this draft if they want to take a chance. I think that fit could be solid, especially looking at the Kings. I mean, they'd be a little scrunched with Sabonis down there with them at the 4 spot. The Rockets, they, dealing Christian Wood, right?
Yeah,
but
it looks like a reason.
That's a good reason. I think it will be. But, if you're looking for a team that might mesh a little better, I think the Pacers just have maybe more maturity, even though I think I'm just comparing it to the Rockets in that sense. But, I do think there's a couple teams that he could fit. And he's honestly a guy that can probably get into the NBA and fit anywhere on a scoring level.
That's how I feel.
The defensive level is a little different. But, hey, when you're going to a lottery team, especially, top 5, not many of those teams play good defense anyway, so he'll have time to adjust. And hell, he might even be one of the better ones on that team. So if the team wants to move up and take a chance, I do think the Pacers should do it. But to Zoo's point, I think it might be the Rockets making a move here at 3.
Yeah. I feel like this is what the Rockets are looking at right now. Pretty much they're going full rebuilding mode. They let everyone go. They don't even allow John Wall to play basketball on the team because they want to develop your young guys. So they're going full rebuild mode, and they don't even they shipped away Christian Wood. So right now they have it open at power forward position. So I feel like he's the guy that they're aiming at right now that fits with their team. And if you look at right now, 6'10", 250, NBA body already. Even for an NBA player, that is an above average body. That built, he's physically ready for the NBA. And growing up, this dude played guard. This dude was a 6'1" dude playing guard. He just had a growth spurt, finished 6'9", 6'10". So pretty much he's like, okay, I got all these little guard skills that I got as a younger player. Now develop him as a 6'10" power forward with stretch 4 ability. Got a nice looking jump shot, not a pure 3-point stroke, which you can always develop in the NBA. But if you just look at the form, good form, nice dribbling package, man. He could be on the move a little.
He's a good passer.
Yeah, he's a good passer. On the ball, this dude got playmaking abilities for a 6'10" guy. So I feel like this guy has decent upside for a guy that's super, super young, has the physical tools, has the skill set, going the pedigree of Duke, going to Duke. This guy, I feel like he's not gonna bust. This guy's got the physical tools and the skill set to be I feel like a starter in the NBA immediately. It's all gonna depend on fit and chemistry with the teammates that play with them, because obviously he has some weaknesses in his game defensively, still a work working process you mentioned, man. This guy loves going right, man. Got no left hand, man. A little
Tatum.
A little. It's funny. A little Julius Randle-esque, man. Obviously not a lefty, but more of a righty version of Julius Randle. They're both physical freaks, man. Both got little guard moves in their game. So I feel like he got a little more Julius Randle in his game. So I feel like a lot is going to depend on situation, having a guard that can also set him up. So I feel like it all depends on a good guard for him to play with, because if he doesn't, man, like if he's in a bad situation like Julius Randle in the beginning of his career, he may just be getting nice numbers for a really, really bad team and winning no games, because I don't know how much you can impact winning at such a young age and with his ability to score the basketball.
You think Jalen Green's that guy? Getting the ball. That's the only thing I think Halliburton. That's the only.
Yeah, Jalen Green is a pure bucket. Like he's in that Zach LaVine mode. Like he's a scorer. Like
for sure.
Like Porter, even Porter, he's like a scoring type of point guard too. So they got a lot of guards going to there. So I don't know. They don't have a true
like
guy,
handling. You know what I mean?
Have a true playmaker. There's not many of those. So it's hard to find those. But a lot of these guards are coming in. They want to get 20 points a game because that's what gets you paid in the NBA. So I feel like these young guys, man, they'll be fighting over for buckets right now. So Houston Rockets, like, but look out for Sengun, man. I'm a big fan of Sengun.
I like Sengun a lot.
Yeah, he got that Euro body, man. Not looking like a great athlete, but surprisingly good at basketball type of
shifty.
Dude, yeah.
That Luka shift.
Yeah, he got that shift, man. That basketball IQ. So I feel like a guy to pair with Sengun as a contrast to him. I feel like that's what they're looking at right now in that trade away for Wood. Feel like that is my projection right now. I'm going number 3 right now.
Yeah. Like to Peebush's point, I think Banchero, he fits a lot of places because of his versatility. It's going to be interesting because Sam Presti, we all know he's the guru when it comes to making draft picks. So you kind of want to, we're not going to know until draft night, but you kind of want to know who he's like keyed in on, because whoever he's keyed in on, that's who he may trade back, because they got so much capital that maybe if he's keyed in on a guy like Banchero, and if you look at OKC's roster, they have a lot of big guys and their guards that could play make somewhat. So I think that kind of fits in that whole. I think and I don't know this for sure, but I think he kind of believes in just how the players that are playing on the court and the players that they have on his roster, like a lot of positionless basketball. So I think Banchero could fit right into that. Now, you've heard a lot of talk about OKC and Chet, and it's fit there. But I'm kind of interested to see where Presti's eyeing, because depending on where he's looking, if that guy's not in that, like there's going to be a guy in the top 3, but if, you got a lot of smoke of Jabari going first and then they're second, but a lot of people think Chet's going to go second, then he might just trade back to 3. Some team go get Chet, and then he gets more assets in Banchero, and that's the guy he thinks is the best player in the draft. So we don't know. I feel like that's the key piece to all this.
That's what I like to call the Chicago Bears for Trubisky trade right there. Moving from 3 to 2, man. You don't want to do it no matter who. As the Rockets, I don't think you can do it, man. Because
they shouldn't do that. They should wait.
The more I think about it, I honestly think if Jabari goes first and a team, whether it's, the Thunder first or the Rockets, they're having to choose between kind of Chet, right, or Paolo, or maybe taking a chance on Ivy. I think that's kind of, we can all agree that'd be the 3 post Jabari. I would actually be willing to take a chance on Paolo and Jaden over Chet. If I'm saying more of a because you're looking for upside, and Chet.
You don't think Chet has upside?
I think he has upside.
I think it's upside.
Lower floor though.
I think exactly. Yep, the lower floor, and I think that's the iffy part, because he could get bodied.
And they have Poku already on OKC.
Oh yeah, they love their skinny dudes, man. They love their skinny dudes, man.
Poku, I like him a lot. He can really play. Yeah,
you're looking at the body type of Chet versus Paolo, and you want to look for an immediate impact on a team that could make the playoffs in the West if you wanted to. In the Thunder, they have the talent if they continue to add to it.
Yeah,
it might be Paolo if you're looking for an immediate turnaround.
I feel like if you're like a franchise like OKC, you're gonna have to draft a homegrown superstar, right? You gotta go for a superstar. You're trying to win a championship. Sam Presti's trying to win a championship. You look at these franchises that are not big city franchises. You gotta hit home runs. You can't get a nice player. You gotta go for a home run right now.
Yeah,
so Chet you gotta go for you get a nice starter for a couple of years. Now you ain't winning anything. So you gotta get guys that are special. Chet has that special ability because his physically is just different from people. So
Yeah.
what separates these great players from just average players is not on top of elite skill set. You have an elite physical skill set that's just different from everyone else. And Chet's just being 7 foot tall and being able to shoot the basketball. That's just different from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to pray. Maybe I feel like this is what Presti's thinking about, that maybe he believes that he could develop this dude into one of these never before seen players. Exactly. Never before seen players in the NBA. Because like you think of Giannis when he got into the NBA. Giannis was a project. He was he had zero skill set. He was just an athletic freak. It was called the Greek freak for a reason. He was a genetic freak, and they went for the home run. Milwaukee Bucks, one of those homegrown franchises, and they hit it out of the park, and we wanted him. I feel like a franchise like OKC are going to be swinging for the fences because they got picks for days. Yeah. They got picks for days. So I feel like
they can afford to mess up, though.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think about it.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be a bust because I think at worst he'd be a nice rim protector in the NBA. Like a rim protecting guy that hits the open three.
Like a little pick and pop guy.
Yeah, he can play some defense, man. Maybe like an Al Horford type. Like an Al Horford type. Like not going to be a special player, but play elite defense, hit the open three. So that'll be a nice player that you could have in the rotation. But if he develops his game and get like physically like strong.
If he looks like Giannis in 8 years, I would be very surprised.
Yeah, they got to put him on that Giannis. They need to put him on that Giannis diet and workout, man.
Giannis had the shoulders, though. Giannis had the frame.
I don't know. Giannis has nothing.
He has the Chet's narrow frame. At least Giannis had a broad. If you go, because you know what's funny? I was watching a not G League, but a summer league game. For some reason, it was on my algorithms of Jabari Parker. Remember him? And Andrew Wiggins going against each other. And Giannis was on the court for Milwaukee. And I was like looking at him. I was like, okay, I see. Like he had the frame. He just wasn't big. Like Chet's very narrow and he has a hunch.
Well, Vegas just changed their odds too. They just moved Paolo's odds at going number 1 overall just past Chet's.
That is.
So I think Jabari's still favored.
Jabari is like the safe. Like I like Jabari a lot, but I think he's more of a safe pick. I don't know if he's got the ceiling of the other two. He's a very safe pick because he's going to come in and shoot, and he's going to come in and give a little bit of energy. Like now, Jabari, if you tell me in 3 to 4 years he develops a dribble, then he's going to be the best player because he's already shooting way better than the other two.
He needs a handle. Yep.
But if he gets a nice handle, then he's going to be the best guy. Yeah. If he had Paolo's handle, he would be a no doubt number 1 because Paolo doesn't have the shot, and Paolo's shot, which can be fixed, it kind of has a hitch in it. And I don't like that.
A little bit.
But everything else is great with him. So,
well, there could be a lot of movement in this draft too, man.
Definitely.
I mean, the Kings
a lot of
could
smoke
move.
with the 4th overall pick, man. A lot of smoke with the 4th overall pick.
I think people want Ivy, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Kings,
Pelicans.
man.
They have some capital.
They have some capital.
They have a little bit of capital.
They got that Lakers pick. They got that Lakers pick 8th overall. They got some asset they could trade up. Yeah,
they could definitely trade
up.
They
could trade McCollum if they really wanted to.
Wow, no, I wouldn't do it.
You could though if you needed to.
I wouldn't do it though.
For Jaden Ivey?
No, I wouldn't do it, but you could.
Jaden Ivey, Zion, and Brandon.
I feel like that Pelicans team. If Zion is what we thought Zion was before the draft, they can win a championship with that roster.
Facts. If he comes
in current
roster, you have Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum as your second and third best player, and they have good role players that play defense.
Herb
Jones. They can get it done. Yeah, Herb Jones and what's that guy? The Eldorado guy stealing the basketball. They got some nice role players on the team. Yeah. They got some nice role players. Like and Valanciunas, the big boy down low, man.
Geez.
If you need a guy to guard,
let him go.
Yeah, if you need a guy to guard like the Jokic's of the world, so you have a big guy you can go to as a double machine. Like they have a lot of surprise. They got a really good roster. So man,
there's just some other young teams.
They could definitely trade it. Yeah, go ahead, P-Bush. My bad.
I was gonna say there's some other young teams that could be rising up right there with them, man. So it's gonna be fun to watch those. If the Pelicans do rise, you got the Timberwolves and Grizzlies coming right with them too.
So that's why it would be more. I feel like even more incentive to go maybe trade up in the draft because it's not like standing back and drafting somebody where they're at. Like you could probably get some really good players. But, I mean, if you're all in on Jaden Ivey, he could be a guy you go trade up to go get him. That puts you right in the conversation, I feel like, with Memphis and Minnesota. More so Memphis, I feel like, because if you're somehow able to keep McCollum, then you have Ivy and BI and Zion comes back in shape and motivated. That's going to be a tough task for a lot of people in the West. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. You know, draft day is always kind of confusing sometimes because there's a lot of cash considerations, things like that. NBA draft always had a lot of moving parts, so we're gonna see. I do think there's going to be a lot of trades, and it's just going to be, I guess, the precursor to when we get to NBA free agency, and all of a sudden we start getting Woj and Shams and all those alerts on our phone. So, you guys make sure you tune in to bullheaded_pod. We're on Instagram, TikTok, bullheaded864. We're on YouTube, Quantrell Knows. On all the DSPs, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and for me, Zoo, and P. Bush.